Brodes Media.
I did not think that we would be talking about who was actually hired for the offensive coordinator position so soon. But here we are. Kevin Patullo is now the right-hand man officially. He's always been the right-hand man of Nick Sirianni, but to have that OC title right next to your name, it's a big deal. It's a huge job. This is arguably one of the best jobs that were available all throughout the National Football League. And you went in-house without really deciding to interview anybody else. You felt you had your guy. They just went out and said, fuck it. He's our guy. Let's just make it happen. We're not playing any games. We don't need to beat around the bush. We know he's a stud. Let's get after it. That was their message. And in a way, I respect that. It doesn't mean it was perfectly executed, because I don't think there's any harm in letting this play out and to hear from other potential candidates. Now, I have a list of positives and negatives. And let me be very clear right from the jump here. I don't know how Kevin Patullo is going to be. I don't know. There's nothing to base it off of. Literally nothing. He could be very good at this job. He could be average. He could be above average. He could be bad. He could be below average. I don't know. Nobody knows. No one has ever seen it. I'm not ruling him out. Just because previous internal hires failed doesn't mean this one is going to fail. I can't say that. With that said, I think it's fair to judge the process. It's fair to judge how you got to this decision. It's fair to wonder what you potentially missed out on and what advantages you gain from staying with somebody who's been here with Nick, who's been here with Jalen, who's been here in this organization. So it's less about, hey, Kevin Patullo is going to be an absolute monster and he's going to be one of the best offensive coordinators ever, or he's going to be an abomination and one of the worst hires in Howie Roseman history. It's not really about that. It's how did you get to this decision? And what does this decision say? And where can this backfire? And where can this benefit you? Does that make sense? All right. So let's start out with the positives here. Because of how quickly it went, I think it's a strong message delivered to not just Kevin Patullo saying we believe in you, not just Nick Sirianni for saying, hey, we know this is someone you love. You know this is someone that you've been eyeing to eventually get that gig, because let's be honest, that's the truth. Kevin Patullo was staring at that job saying, one day that's going to be mine. And when he's with Nick Sirianni, they have a good friendship. They have a good relationship where Nick Sirianni envisioned it one day too. So the fact that there is belief in going with Nick's guy after winning a Super Bowl, belief in the guy, and then also now the locker room, yo, is it? Let's go. We're trying to go back to back. We're not messing around. We're not trying to make this longer than what it needs to be. We're already behind the eight ball because our GM is getting smacked in the face with beer cans, and then he's, getting hammered all day long on a Friday, which is what you get when you bring home that hardware, okay? I'm not trying to knock them for it, but because other teams have already started to establish some of their hires, and they started to get their coordinators in check, and they started to take a look at their coaching staffs, well, you got some work to do. And you plugged in one of your biggest holes right away, and that sends a message that we got our guy. We know what he's capable of doing. We've seen what he's been able to do in his respected job since getting here. He's got what it takes. It's a big deal. Like the fact that for this job in particular, there were no other things happening around this. That's a statement. You can't not acknowledge how big of a deal it is for them to not bring in some big names, some respected voices, some guys that have a lot of pop and a lot of buzz growing in this industry, because there are a ton of coaches out there. where, hey, you got to watch out for this guy. Hey, you got to watch out for that guy. And you got to think, too, imagine if the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl and they are sitting there with an offensive coordinator job wide open, and you went out of your organization to look at who won the Super Bowl and pick their associate head coach and their passing game coordinator. You'd say, hey, he coached for the Chiefs. He coached with Andy. He coached with whoever. You know Andy Reid's coaching tree's good, right? Well, that's who you plucked from. The same role, just not in-house. You'd probably talk yourself into how that is a strong move. Now, here's where the negative comes in, and we'll kind of do a little back and forth to keep this balanced. One of the things I would really like to see is an addition to the offense, right? I want to see some different looks, different philosophies. Kevin Patullo's been here for a long time. Do you think he's holding stuff in his back pocket for whenever he got this gig? Or did he already give us a lot of his great theories, a lot of his great thoughts, a lot of his intel? Because if he's here for a particular role and he's showing his strengths and he's showing why he's good and he's showing his knowledge and he's showing his greatness, then don't you think what he brings has already been provided to this group? And is there more for him to bring? Has he been holding back in case he does get a chance to call plays? In case he does get a chance to be the offensive coordinator? Or has he sort of already spilled out what he brings and this is more of a similar look? And this offense did just go win a Super Bowl, but we are going to need more in the passing game than what we got in the regular season. And, you know, look, I love what they did, but can you hand the football off to Saquon Barkley for 30-plus times for 17 games, 18 weeks, another postseason run? Or do you need to find a way to sort of marry the passing game with the run game more throughout the regular season to be more of a threat? And I think it's fair to wonder if we can elevate the passing game so you're not in the bottom half of the league when being ranked. So, did he already spill his greatness? Because I'd imagine you're intrigued by him because of what he has done. Did he already give us that? And he's here. He's here. So could you have still gotten that knowledge and still brought in an OC? Because where's Kevin Patullo going? If Doug Nussmeier is with Kellen Moore and he's traveling to New Orleans and he's becoming their offensive coordinator, who are you losing Kevin Patullo to? And if the answer is nobody, then why doesn't he stay in his similar role, still give all the feedback, still give all the information that he has and show his smarts while also adding another voice? So then you have a powerful new voice as an OC outside the organization and a good mix with Kevin Patullo and all these other offensive minds who would still be here. Did you miss out on an opportunity to gain another view, to gain another offensive creative mind? I'm just asking the question. I guess I should start here, too. I don't hate the move. I really don't. And the more I think about it, I actually like the fact that there was no BS. And they straight up said, yo, this is it. This is the guy. We are going to win a Super Bowl. We love Kevin Patullo. And the fact that it happened so quickly, it makes me feel at least like internally they are all on the same page. Whereas if it took a few weeks, if you were waiting, if you were playing the long game, then there starts to be a lot of speculation, right? A day ago, I did a podcast right here and I started talking about what if Jalen doesn't like it, but Nick likes it, but Howie has final say, and Howie looks at Nick and says this and looks at Jalen and goes, yo, Brian Johnson didn't work and you were his boy and you co-signed and now we have to look in this direction. And all that speculation that lasted maybe 24 hours is already somewhat getting ripped up and into the paper shredder. It's still there to some level. I don't know necessarily if Jalen Hurts loved the move, and I'll replay the audio for you during locker cleanout day because, well, he did have some interesting comments. So it's still there on a minor level, but they definitely snipped it in the bud. Isn't that what it is? Nip it in the bud? Whatever. That's what they did. They got out ahead of it. and they showed the entire world there's a strong stance behind Kevin Patullo getting this gig. And I think that's very important. So I like the message it sends. I'm interested to know why they didn't at least interview, because there's no harm in interviewing. You could tell Kevin Patullo, listen, you're most likely our guy. You're the front of the pack here. You're leading the way. But I still have to do my due diligence. And if Kevin Patullo gets sad about that, if he cries about that, if he gets angry about that, that's pathetic. This is the offensive coordinator job for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the NFL. I promise you, this probably isn't the worst thing that you're going to have to experience through a lot of the crap that happens in this league. So take it on the chin and let's move forward. You're in first place to get the job. Shut up. Stop pouting and let me do my due diligence with other people. I'm just saying. What if somebody comes in and you go, holy hell, you didn't know Nick Sirianni, right? Then you interviewed Nick Sirianni and he clearly said something in that room when he sent you a message and you went, whoa, this guy brings something that's unique. This guy has something that is out there, but it's super intriguing. And you did that through the interviewing process. What if you missed out? And that doesn't mean Kevin Patullo is going to be bad. Remember, it's just about the process. Do I think it was a clean process? No. Do I think it sends a good message? Yes. Do I lean liking it more than not liking it? Yes. It's just fascinating.